The WNBA is coming to Philadelphia. By 2030, Philadelphia will have its own team, and there's some impact that might affect the local community surrounding there. We'll break down next. So if you get some value out of this or you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and if you want to schedule a call with our team about how the WNBA franchise could impact you and your real estate decisions, or you just got questions, feel free to do that with the link in the comments. The WNBA is coming to Philadelphia. In 2030, the WNBA is expanding to Chicago, Cleveland, and Philadelphia. How did these cities not have teams before this? Blows my mind. They're some of the largest metros in the U.S., but here we are. Harris Blitzer Sports, Sixers owner Josh Harris is very excited about this, and they're talking about even maybe trying to push the arena opening up to 2030 when the Sixers open their new arena downtown, or not downtown, but down in South Philadelphia. And there's a lot of things to consider here. One, we've seen the WNBA rise to new heights with Caitlin Clark and what she's been able to do in Indiana and through her collegiate career, which is really exciting. So that's number one, the fact that the WNBA is on the rise. But there's some other things to think about here. There's going to be 18 teams over the next 5 years. Cleveland's going to begin playing in 28, Detroit in 29, Philadelphia in 30, and Toronto and Portland are both entering the league next year. Again, this is what I'm talking about with these cities. How does Portland and Toronto, Toronto's a big city, how did they get a franchise before Philadelphia? It always blows my mind. So exciting news for basketball fans. And there's something to consider when you look at some of the neighborhoods down in the sports complex. This is an area of the city that is very underutilized. And with the plans for the new arena for the Sixers and Flyers, now the Philadelphia WNBA franchise will be there. I think their name is going to be the Bells, by the way. That's just a prediction. Nick liked it. Liberty Bell, how do you go wrong? And that's going to ripple through some of the neighborhoods surrounding the sports complex. They're talking about building the walkway down there with retail shops and more restaurants. The sports complex is basically a dead zone when you don't have an event going on. And the fact that they're bringing more events there, especially over the summertime, because when the Phillies are out of town, that's not a place you want to be. It's something that could shake out in a pretty interesting way. The first is, we could see prices surge in South Philadelphia, maybe 3 to 6%. Now, that's already where prices are kind of trending so far this year, but the city's broader price growth is 2 to 4% based on Zillow's 2025 Philadelphia market data projection. So the arena's construction is backed by a $1.55 billion investment by Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment. So that's a lot of money and a revitalization coming to this part of town. Places like Pennsport and some of the other areas down there could see a bounce in pricing as well. And the WNBA has a 40-game season, so that's going to draw some more crowds, and that could increase maybe some Airbnb opportunities down there, maybe hotel business, obviously, especially if there's playoff games. And the season's May to September, so I do like the timing of this for what goes on down at the sports complex because, you know, in the wintertime, you got Sixers, Flyers, Eagles, you've got concerts going on. Not as much going on during the summer. And there could be some more development and speculation. So it already has sparked developer interest. And the same thing happened when the Sixers were talking about the downtown arena by City Hall, where people were like, I need to buy up these properties. I want to invest in Chinatown. Obviously didn't come to fruition, but there could be some speculative buying on vacant lots or underutilized properties near the sports complex, especially along Broad and Patterson, because that is kind of a weird area down there. You got like that CVS. There's nothing on Broad Street down there. And data from the Philadelphia Office of Property Assessment shows a 10% uptick in commercial property transactions in South Philadelphia since the arena plan surfaced last year. So that's obviously very interesting news to see that sort of development happening. And you've got to go to that lead indicator data that's happening at City Hall. There could be more mixed-use projects, maybe some residential units. There's possibly 500 to 1,000 could emerge by 2032, which is similar to what happened in Washington, D.C.'s entertainment and sports arena. And it could cause some gentrification or the continued gentrification of places like Point Breeze. And on top of that, I mean, there's going to be areas like Delaware County where arena workers may be able to have more viable careers. They have more dates they can work. That's going to increase their income. And they may opt to buy properties in Delaware County because that's obviously very close to 95, very easy to get down to the sports complex from there. And that could cause prices to jump in some of those neighborhoods down by the airport in Essington, Ridley, maybe even Media and Springfield, depending on where these folks live. And hopefully that's going to improve transit, but we got all these SEPTA issues right now. So there's a lot of things to think about here. All good news, because when there's more dates and more entertainment happening, that means more revenue coming into neighborhoods, more people living here, more workers, more jobs. I mean, you could generate potentially 150 jobs just from the franchise with players, coaches, marketing, admin, and then another 500 to 700 indirect jobs for the arena, vendors, and security. So you've got maybe 1,000 jobs potentially being added just by this getting announced. And these are based on estimates from the Las Vegas Aces economic impact when they announced that franchise a few years ago. Average arena wages are $40,000 to $60,000. This could potentially inject another 20 to 30 million into local payrolls. And then you've got game day spending, right? It's expensive going to these games. If you get 7,000 fans a game, that's the mid-range for the WNBA, spending $50 on tickets, food, and merchandise, the 20 home games could generate $7 million per season in direct revenue. And then if you put the multiplier effect on top of that of 1.5 to 2x for local businesses like bars and restaurants in South Philadelphia and along South Broad Street. We talked about the hospitality surge along the commercial corridors. Maybe you could see some new development along Oregon Avenue where you see new bars and restaurants and sports-themed retail. For context, the Wells Fargo Center surrounding businesses reported a 12% revenue increase during high-traffic sports seasons, according to the Philadelphia Business Journal. And that addition of the WNBA franchise could push another 15 to 18%, especially with crossover fans from the Sixers and the Flyers or just basketball fans. Center City Airport and hotel revenue could increase. I mean, that could be hotel occupancy is at 72% in Philadelphia already. That could take up another 2 to 3% during the WNBA season, adding another 5 to 10 million in tourism revenue. So there's a lot to think about here. And then you look at the planned upgrades for SEPTA's NRG station. That could cost $100 million for parking facilities and the station itself, and that would improve access for suburban commuters. And then you've got corporate sponsorships that people don't often take into account. And especially, that could attract another like $10 to $15 million annually. So there's a long-term value here. Now, the negative is going to be there could be more traffic and more congestion, especially with this SEPTA proposed budget cut. It's already a disaster getting in and out of these games. They're not going to be as well attended as an Eagles game, as an example. So that's obviously something to think about. And the other challenge here is that this isn't happening for another 5-6 years. So with the arena opening in 2031 with a push date of 2030, major impacts probably won't hit then. But this is good news for housing prices, for annual economic activity. We're talking about $20 to $30 million more. Exciting stuff for Philadelphia, and exciting news to see the city get another must-see activity. We'll see what the name is. Good news for Philadelphia and the surrounding areas.